Most people can admit and agree that if you listen to hip hop music before and after the late 80s to early 90s, you can hear a distinct difference. Some people believe that these changes that happened in hip hop music occurred naturally. Others believe that these changes occurred intentionally, that hip hop music was deliberately changed from lighthearted fun and at times socially and politically conscious to gangsters, pimps, drug dealers, hoes, and murderers. If you subscribe to the latter, you've probably heard of different theories and rumors as to how the plan to destroy hip hop music was devised or came together. Well, add this one to the list. Thanks for watching this episode of the B-Boy Stance. If you're down with classic hip hop culture, like and subscribe. Some people 25 and under probably think I'm tripping when I talk about how much hip hop music has changed. A lot of them can't recognize any changes because the music has been stuck and has not changed content-wise in the last 25 to almost 30 years. In other words, the music was like this when some of these young boys were born, so the way their hip hop music is now is all they know. After acknowledging that a change did indeed occur in hip hop music regarding content and subject matter, intelligence level, respect, including the use of profanity, one might ask, if this change wasn't natural or organic, how did the change happen? How did the people who destroyed hip hop do it? The question of how the quote-unquote plan to destroy hip hop music ties in with the video I did about who sanctioned the destruction of hip hop music. In that video, I discussed giant media conglomerates buying up all the small regional record labels across the country so that all the music is controlled by a handful of record labels. Like I said in that video, music can be controlled a lot easier when many music media outlets are consolidated into just a few companies. But that consolidation alone isn't what began the destruction of hip hop music. Just about every genre of music was impacted by the music company consolidations that took place in the 90s. So you can't just point to that. However, the consolidations gave them the landscape to destroy hip hop music. Also, in that video, I referenced a secret meeting that is rumored to have taken place in the early 90s, which was attended by the most powerful people in the music industry. While I did not outright dismiss the rumor, I questioned the possibility of the attendees of a meeting like that being kept secret for over 30 years. A little detective work, and you could probably figure out at least half of the people that were there if the meeting did occur. So like I said, a secret meeting didn't have to take place for you to recognize that something happened to have our music begin to change on us. I propose that more casual or informal conversations, interactions, and encounters took place to spark the revolution against classic hip hop music, to have it eventually replaced by gangster rap, trap music, mumble rap, and drill music. Yes, they are heads of industry, but at the end of the day, they are people who hang out sometimes and talk to each other sometimes, and who have concerns and anxieties like everyone else. Once you get that, you'll understand that the music industry, prison industry, food industry, firearm industry, jewelry industry, fashion industry, automobile industry, the drug industry. The heads of all these industries hang out at the same golf clubs, the same country clubs, the same golf courses, the same sporting events, the same social events, etc., etc. These people talk. They talk about their families and politics, and they talk about business, industry business. So see, a formal sit-down meeting doesn't have to take place for these people to form a consensus and start making moves. Most of them already have in common the desire to protect the power structure that's been in place for hundreds of years. So for real, all it takes for a move to be made in industry that could impact the lives of hundreds of thousands, even millions of people, are a casual discussion between industry heads on the ninth hole of the golf course one day. So hypothetically, instead of a secret formal meeting taking place, a private discussion to hamper and compromise conscious elements in hip-hop music could have taken place. Let's say some heads of the jewelry industry might have been hanging out with a couple of music industry heads at the country club one day back in the late 90s. The jewelry industry dude might have been like, "Hey, music industry dude, what's going on? My kids have been coming home talking about fight the power and don't believe the hype." And he's like, "Yeah, we're seeing a decline in our sales of our big gold chains because a lot of the black rapper guys, they stopped wearing the gold. We've been seeing people wearing those black leather African medallions around their necks." A couple of drug industry dudes come walking up in the conversation and they add on, "Yeah, my kid has a Malcolm X poster on his wall, for God's sakes. I was wondering where that came from until I heard some of that hip-hop music he loves so much praising him. I thought we got rid of Malcolm X a long time ago," they'll say. By the time they get to the seventh hole, they bump into their homies from the prison industry, and he chimes in, "Yeah, we've been hearing about these rapper guys talking about stop the violence, say no to drugs, stay in school, vote, get knowledge of self, clean up the community. We thought all that music was just about hip-hop, hippie to the hibbity. But to the contrary, we heard the messages they are sending in their music is turning them away from crime, which is hurting our bottom line, or it will soon." Hypothetically, after hearing this week after week, the music industry dude agrees that something should be done to put blacks back in their place. Yeah, they were making big money with hip-hop, but they understood that they couldn't have their industry threatening the mainstream power structure. Groups like Public Enemy and Boogie Down Production were a threat to the mainstream power structure. In fact, the whole era of black consciousness in hip-hop was a threat. They could still make their money and destroy black people at the same time. Kill two birds with one stone. It was time to marginalize the black consciousness era in hip-hop and start the gangster era. So they slowly but surely, gradually, they started making moves. First off, hypothetically, they send out a memo. Not a written memo, mind you, but a word-of-mouth campaign to stop signing conscious rappers and at the same time begin signing rappers with a street edge. And if you don't know, street edge means gangster. They started making music and videos that promote and glorifies criminals and criminal activity. They made music and videos that made it look cool to go to jail or be in the criminal justice system, or to be in a gang, to rave around and pose with a gun, to wear and flaunt gaudy jewelry and big gold chains and fancy cars, and to demoralize women. They didn't want any more rappers out there spreading lofty ideas and being inspirational. They need rappers to spread the word and glorify everything negative in the black community so that they can keep black asses in jail or out here buying the jewelry, buying the cars, buying the guns, and shooting each other. So the jewelry industry, the luxury car industry, the gun industry, the prison industry, the fashion industry, all these industries benefit from quote-unquote gangster rap. They benefit from black people being entertained by this nonsense and being influenced by it. They benefit from black bodies going into their jails in high numbers. And of course, they benefit from blacks buying their jewelry, their cars, guns, clothes, and ultimately, they benefit from our deaths and the diminishment of our population. They have understood and respected the power and influence of music entertainment for a long time. So they didn't have to have a secret meeting to destroy hip hop. They saw the direction that hip hop was moving, and with just a few conversations, took us from black consciousness to gangster, trap, and drill rap in less than one generation.